Welcome to episode 93 of the High Volume Hiring Podcast. I am Stephen Rothberg, one of your two co-hosts. I'm also the founder of College Recruiter Job Search Site, which believes that every student and recent graduate deserves a great career and that it should be easy and inexpensive for employers to hire them. I am joined today by two of my favorite people, one of whom I now get to work with day in and day out, Jeanette Leeds, and the other one of which has not received a job offer from us yet, therefore has not accepted it, and I have a suspicion likely wouldn't. But Jeanette, first, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeanette Leeds, officially now with College Recruiter, but also still HR Tech Advisor. And really excited for today's episode with Andrew Gadomski. For those who don't know, he is the founder of Aspen Analytics. And we're going to talk today about the battle of the bots. So, Andrew, thank you for being here with us today. Tell us about yourself for those who don't know you.
Well, Jeanette, Stephen, thanks so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Well, we'll see what you say at the end of the interview.
Okay. We'll see if this is live, so I think we're okay. The Aspen Analytics is the company that I run, founded in 2006. So I've gone through quite a maturity since then. But the organization is designed to work with large-scale employers globally on their people analytics and having them understand, better decisions, faster, cheaper. But that transcended into really focusing in on their behaviors and their practices around wage equity, the use of artificial intelligence, and then also transparency, and then even cyber risk, where now organizations that are of scale have all these new vulnerabilities. And so we audit that for them. And then we give them tools so they can manage that internally. And that's where the battle of the bots kind of gets rolling.
Very cool. So what we mean by the battle of the bots, in my mind, and Andrew, definitely let me know if you see it differently. In my mind, employers have always been doing this for as long as any of us have been in HR tech, is employers have used a lot of automation as part of their screening and selection function. And I think what's recently changed, that automation has become more pervasive, it's become more sophisticated, but I think the massive difference in the last year or two is that we're seeing a lot of the same stuff on the candidate side. Yeah. They're using automation. Maybe you can talk to that, what you're seeing with your clients, the problems that they're seeing with more automated applies, assisted applies, et cetera.
Well, I mean, if it's kind of you get what you wish for. So if you go back a few years, there's this whole, we want to get applicants faster. We want to get them through our system faster. LinkedIn, please do a one-button apply. And, let's go ahead and figure out how to weave in. And you can use, you do a quick resume and you can parse it and you don't have to fill a lot. So we've all been around this space a long time and we've tried to battle this. We don't want it to take so long to apply. Well, here we are. We're now all of a sudden, you can wave that wand and, applicants can go ahead and say, here's a version of my resume or several of them, put them into a service, have that service automatically identify using what's basically known as similarity matching, job that looks like something I want, based on what I uploaded. And it's using computer vision to go ahead and say, I can fill out this form for you, or I can find this job for you. And in some cases, it's not just automated. It's not just identifying, it's actually doing the application, right? So you really don't know what you applied to. You get a notice that you applied to it. In some cases, I'm seeing development where there's more human intervention, where it's similar to almost Google Alerts, where, there's jobs that popped up in workforce planning, or, there's a mechanic job down the street. And then you say, I like that, apply, right? And then that concept is more automated. That would be the example. That's a great example of human intervention.
Yep.
Now, here's the problem. Talent acquisition leader, recruiter on the ground. How do you know the difference? You don't.
Right.
An applicant comes into the system. So what I think companies are starting to see is, number one, they're starting to see what others would call throttling. Lots of people applying to jobs in a short period of time.
Yeah.
And so now I go ahead, I put myself into a service, I apply to 200 jobs, but maybe I applied to 12 jobs at one company, but I'm not the one. You wake up the next day, there's 100 applicants, or you have 850 applicants, right? And so for the States, I would say that's a little bit more of a recent problem.
Yeah.
But if you were to go to parts of Asia Pacific, like in India, it's very common to see 400, 500, 600 applicants per requisition. That's actually quite normal. And so the idea of throttling I'm looking at is not hundreds. It can be thousands.
Yeah.
And that's where the bots come in, is, well, we have so many people now, we need to use something to screen them down. So throttling is a threat or a vulnerability. Another vulnerability is, well, you don't know if that person really wants to work for you or they just wanted to apply. So before,
or their AI agent wanted them to apply.
Right. It could be an AI agent selecting them and then filling out my information. But you don't really know my motivation. And if I really wanted to apply to you, or I just wanted to apply to 200 organizations and just hit a button. So the recruiter doesn't understand if this person is genuinely interested,
right,
in them as an employer. They're actually banking on the fact that the recruiter is going to say no, which is why they applied to 200 very quickly. So now recruiters have another vulnerability, which is, I really don't know if Andrew wants to work here. All I know is I have an application. Before, they had to go through a 15-minute process of setting up a login, finding the job, reading it, going out to my employment branding site, finding out all about the research we have and the videos that we do. And yes, I want to work here. And I then go through the 25-minute process. All that's gone.
Yeah, there's a lot less friction now.
Yeah. Well, to the point where it's a landslide. What you have is you have floodwater now. So that's a real vulnerability. And I think the last one is cyber risk. So this is something that doesn't get talked about real often, but when you're throttling or you have the ability to go ahead and apply to a lot of positions quickly, there are bad actors. And the idea would be, I'm just going to see who's going to click the attachment or the link that's buried inside the application that you had me fill out. So now all of a sudden, all these people are coming in. You're seeing all these resumes. A bot goes ahead and says, I think this one's okay. That screening concept is a safety mechanism for the recruiter. So now they go ahead and they look at this person who looks perfect, and they start clicking links in their resume to go to external sites, malware, phishing, all kinds of things we've never thought about, not to mention the fact that you might actually make a hire and it could be from an adversarial nation.
Right.
So we never really thought about those things, but all of a sudden, I don't even, I might just go ahead and make relationships with fake profiles and not know. And then I engage people, trust them as a recruiter. And then they send me a message. And then again, you've got cyber problems.
Right.
So we've never really faced at this high volume because we couldn't do it.
Right.
We don't have mechanisms or a safety net against it. And we've moved so fast that all of a sudden it's like we never thought we'd be going 100 miles an hour. So we never thought we would need. So all of a sudden it's like, well, who needs an airbag? We would never go that fast.
Right. And now it's like, how do we put up some I was going to say guardrails, but it's actually like safety features, right? An airbag is to protect you from a crash. So inevitably there's a crash, right? Let's protect everyone. So
Right.
like, I mean, and again, we're talking high volume. So it's at scale, like it becomes not just a one-off. It is, this is for those, our audience, this is massive. So like, okay, this is all really scary.
I'm not trying to scare you.
No, but I'm not trying to scare anybody. Right? We have to, but it's like, so what things, what airbags can we put in to just, or is it just the first point is like, hey, just knowing about it? Is that like that first step?
Yeah. So first of all, I would say, education and advocacy.
Yeah.
Right. So if you were to have, you come on board to an organization, they have orientations, you have to go ahead, do a whole bunch of training on whatever. Right. I think managerially, if you're going to be hiring people, you need training on how to use the applicant tracking system, things you should or should not say during an interview. Yes. But I think we now need to start talking about the use of automation, the use of artificial intelligence, things like don't go out to ChatGPT and just ask it to come up with a bunch of interview questions. It's the same job we hire. We hire distribution center managers all over the country. This is the template. Yep. Use it. But also realize that we are doing certain things to keep you safe, and you should do things to make sure that the people that you're talking to have a genuine interest and candidly a real motive. I'll give you an example. When I came on, someone asked me to do this with my hand.
And so just 1 second. And so for the people who are like listening on, Spotify, whatever. So Andrew kind of put his fingers up in front of his face. And also we just have like a couple minutes left. So I think I know where you're going with this, and I am very happy about that.
Yeah, you do have to do some things that are probably different than we've had to do before to make sure that we're not into a deep fake situation. Yeah. There's a lot of pressure to do a lot of hiring. There are great vendors out there that will help organizations do that. I think rather than leaning away from some of that advice, we need to lean in, just realizing we're going at 100 miles an hour.
And then we've got about a minute left. Before we were talking, before we hit record, you had a solution that could probably work when we're talking about like real interest. Let's also talk about real candidates. Are these actually real people? Are they foreign actors? Are they trying to infiltrate your organization to gain access to your accounting system, whatever it might be? You had an idea.
So I've done this. So when I was running staffing at Honeywell, it was a $5 billion division. We used to do these large drafts of interns. And so what we would do is we would bring them all to an Embassy Suites or a Hilton hotel, and we would go ahead for the day. We would get like 30 different hotel rooms, and we would have multiple people, and we would go through panel interviews, and then people would rotate through. So that's the solution. I don't know why Marriott, Hyatt, and International Hotel Group don't set up a service where you can get a room for a day for a series of interviews where the actual applicants who are going to be interviewed show up, show their identification, and then they can log into a computer. There could be a computer sitting there.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right? But they're a real person.
Yeah.
Because they showed up to physically, they're local. How's that? Because they're at the hotel that's in the same location or near the location where they have to work, right? And all of a sudden it's like, oh, I know that person's real. Now, okay, maybe Marriott will get into this business, but there's certainly ways where we don't have to necessarily always use audio, video to broach the topic of motivation and being genuine. And that's an idea, is make it physical, but do it in such a way that it's easy for the candidate. Sometimes the candidate's not easy to get to your facility, but they can get to the Embassy Suites or whatever down the street, and there could be a business conference center, or they can log in using their phone.
And and as we're wrapping up, I'll be sure to share my Hilton Honors number and my Marriott Bonvoy number for the rental. No, I think it's like a whole new business idea for Marriott, for Hilton. It's awesome. Unfortunately, we need to drop off, but Andrew, awesome as always. Great information. Thank you for joining us and
Yes.
sharing some pearls of wisdom.
I love it. What's old is new, and what's new is old, is like that's sort of the in person, right? So this is fantastic.
Thank you both, and appreciate
Thank
all
you.
the work that you do in spreading the word and making work great. Thank you.
Awesome.
Cheers,
Great.
Andrew.
Take care, everyone.